Well, hello, we're back. We just got the brake issue on the 32 Ford fixed. It's been holding pressure now for a week. I'm comfortable and resolved in the fact that we've got that worked out. Thank goodness. Step 2 is finishing the brakes. Today we're going to put the e-brake together. Now, I've already got the cables installed on the rear hubs, as you saw in an earlier thing, and I've got the actual brake handle connected to the floor and bolted in. Now what we're going to be doing is hooking up those cables to that. Now, in order to do this, there's not a whole lot of places under the car, and I will show you that here in a bit. Not a whole lot of places under the car to actually bolt this, which this right here is where the cables go into, hold them into place until it hooks up to the fulcrum to pull on the handle. Not a lot of places to mount that. I'm going to have to mount it to the fiberglass floor. Now, I've talked to the maker of the body. They said this is no problem. It's a special honeycomb type of floor design that they put in these. It's very, very durable. But I'm going to use some pieces of metal to sandwich the fiberglass with to add some reinforcement. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting some pieces of sheet metal off there, just in some simple squares, put it on the top and the bottom of the floor, and held in with the bolts holding that cable mount in to add some reinforcement. That way we're good and strong. Let's go ahead and get started now. Now, as is always the case, sheet metal that sits up gets some rust on it, just some simple surface rust. I'm going to use a flap disc to go ahead and clean that off, get it nice and shiny, cut the pieces off. And then all I've got to do is once I cut the pieces off, smooth them out, drill some holes, we're good to go. Let's get going. Of course, with all things when cutting and grinding on metal, you can throw sparks, use some protection. I kind of prefer these shields because they, well, with glasses and everything, the other things I have trouble with fog and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get going. I've got shiny metal, as you can see. I'm just going to cut off some blocks. So, on both sides I can have that in the middle, so I'm just going to basically clean up the edges here, cut this right about there, and cut another spot the exact same size. Get on my grinding wheel, clean up the edges, and we should be good to go. Paint it, of course, so the rust doesn't come back. This doesn't have to be exact because it's not going to be pretty. One side is going to be under the car, the other side is going to be covered up with carpet. So I just want to make it look as neat as I can without getting carried away. Always fun throwing sparks. Now, since this piece of steel is about 3,000 degrees right now, I'm going to pick it up with a rag, that way I don't burn myself. I'm simply going to measure off of this piece and make another piece. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, just needs to be good enough. Just like that. Now I'm going to be saving this also because I need to cut off another piece that's a little bit bigger to make a doorway for the hole in the floor that I cut to have access to the actual master cylinder. Now we're going to take these pieces, go to the grinding wheel, clean up the areas. Sharp edges are gone, got the corners rounded off. Let's get some paint on these so they don't rust. Then we'll drill some holes in it, or actually I'll go ahead and drill the holes in it now. That way we can go ahead and get started on everything else. Of course, when drilling holes, you always end up with a little bit of slack left over, so just take that and file. Double check my spacing on the holes. Works out just fine. Take the other piece, lay it on top of one another, mark off my hole there, and repeat the step. Double check my holes here. Spacing is good. Let's get some paint on these. Now this is actually primer. This is not the final coat I'm going to put on. I'm going to put some black paint on it afterwards. But since I'm going over bare metal, I want some primer to help it stick. Let that dry, flip it over. And once that's done, get some paint on it. Okay, videoing under here is going to be a bit of a challenge, but this is the gist of it. If you can see this cable here, which up against the black background is very difficult, but I'm running these cables here, going to connect it to this piece here above that bar. This right here is the bottom of the the e-brake handle, so the cables will run through there. So right around in this area right here is where I'm going to have to mount that little fulcrum point where the cables will terminate. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that off, simply holding the template up to that, mark that off, and then once my pieces are dry, I will sandwich that in. It's going to be difficult to film under this, but I will at least show you the finished product. But basically what we're looking at, if I can find the piece that I had right here, hang on. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Got some light on the tip there. I'm going to mount that piece here. Okay, basically right here, this piece, which is adjustable, is going to go right in this general area here. So drill 2 holes there, sandwich it in with the metal pieces that I've got, cut the cable to that length, and attach it. That's what we're doing. Again, I may not be able to film the actual drilling of this, but you get the idea, and I'll show you the actual. As you can see, I've got my holes drilled. They line up perfectly as well with that. Going to go to the top side once I get the actual paint dry on my plates, sandwich that in, and it should be good to go. Now here we are on the top side of the floor. There's the holes right there. You can see they're lined up parallel to that. Plate, screws go through, plate, and then this. Then what we'll do is we'll measure the cables to go into here, cut the outside of the cable, feed the raw cable through into the fulcrum, test everything, trim off the excess. Okay, while the paint's drying, what you'll see here is I've got it marked off what I'm going to be cutting off here as far as the insulation goes. Now you'll see this is a insulator for the internal cable. The trick is going to be cutting the insulator without cutting the cable inside. And I'm going to do that with a combination of things. First, I'm going to score this outer jacket with my diagonal cutters, then spread it apart a little bit because this is spiraled on there. Then I'm going to use my Dremel to cut the one piece that I can and get that on. Now this is going to be too difficult to do and video at the same time, so I'm just going to do it and I'll show you the final product. Actually turned out to be easier than I thought. Got that cut. Of course I have this long length. I'm not going to cut this until I get it sized properly, but it should be good to go. But this in the meantime is still sliding in there nice and easy, so we're good to go there. You can see, got that cut off now. This is exposed. Inner cable's not damaged. This will be what fits into there, but first I'm going to wrap that with electrical tape, and then this little fulcrum here covers that to go into it to add protection to it and strength and rigidity. Once this is in and I've got it bolted up, then I will simply get this adjusted properly and then cut the excess of this cable off once it's already in. Okay, there's the top side of it. Going to the underneath. Still got a little bit of ways to go, but if I can get my light on here, that is what it's going to look at. My light unfortunately is dying, but then I'll feed the cables through. Let's keep going. Alright, top plate in, there's the bolts. Let's look underneath. Okay, crawling under the car now. Bear with me just a second. You will see I've got that routed, held on by that clamp there. This one doesn't necessarily need it because I got it tight enough. You come up here, and there is where the cables go through up to that linkage there. Of course, it's completely adjustable. There's the bottom of the handle. Now, how does it work? Coming around to the back, rear tire, got it elevated, rolls freely as you can see. I've got it out of gear. Come back here. Come to the handle, pull it up, back to the tire, and she's not going anywhere. Emergency brake is done. Now with that, the emergency brake is done, brakes are working, the car will stop now, and when I park it, speaking of park, put it back in park. When I park the car, it will stay put with the emergency brake in place, so now it'll stop. Next step on this car, getting the modulator valve vacuum lines hooked up, getting the transmission lines run, top it off with the fluids, put gas in it. Let's see if we can get this thing started. That'll be for another time. I really want to get back to the Cobra, but in the meantime, I wanted to get some progress done on this. Honestly, I have a little mental issue. Whenever I run into a problem I can't solve, I'll park the car for a while, stew on it for a while, and do other things. And when I think I can attack it and have the gumption to actually get ready and get it done, I'll get on it. That's what I did with this one. I parked it for a while, hadn't touched it. That's why there was a gap between 32 Ford videos. I got the brakes fixed, which was the part that was really, really bothering me. Emergency brakes hooked up. Everything's good to go. Let's keep going. Let's get body work on the Cobra, as well as doing some metal work on the Mustang. Those are coming next, as well as starting the preliminary stuff to get this ready to start. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.